What's up guys, welcome to another exciting session with the D365 blogger, and what we're going to look at today is how we can enhance the Dynamics 365 UI by embedding PowerApps. So I have done a previous video on how to achieve a customer 360 by embedding PowerApps into Dynamics 365 customer engagement, and you can view that video by clicking on the arrow. What I have done in this video is I have taken that solution a step forward in terms of building a customer 360 degree view. So if you go back a few years, we used to get a demo for retail banking with Dynamics 365 CRM, which basically had this tile view, which truly provided a 360 degree view of the customer. This is a solution for retail banking. So with the tiles, you can see what products the customer has, what opportunities the customer has, what are the cases, what are the onboarding opportunities that are going on. So it gives you a very good summarized view of the customer in this particular user interface. So with this solution, what I was looking is how I can replicate a similar interface using PowerApps. So let's go to my solution and have a look at how things are built. So here I am in my active contacts view in Dynamics 365 customer engagement, and I'm going to open this particular contact over here. So with this customer, what I've done is I have built a similar interface using PowerApps where there are individual tiles that represent certain data about the customer. So I've got 6 tiles in here, which basically shows the opportunity, cases, phone calls, alerts, sentiments, and appointments. And what I have also done is you can click on each of these tiles, which will take you to a summarized view of that particular data. So if you look at the opportunities tile, I can see there's a total of 2 opportunities with this customer and a total estimated revenue of 900,000 between the 2 opportunities. So if I want to see a more detailed view, what I can do is I can click on the tile, which will take me to a summarized view of that opportunity. So I see the title, the estimated revenue of the first opportunity, the current owner of the opportunity, when it was last updated, if there's a description, and I can click on the arrow button, which will take me to the next opportunity, which will again show the estimated revenue, title, and so forth. If I want to view the record, what I can do is I can click on the view record button, which will basically launch that particular opportunity in another window. So if you go back to my contact record, just like the opportunity, I can go and view the cases, and I can see what are the case statuses and so forth. And similarly, I have replicated the same thing for phone calls, appointments, and alerts. And in terms of the sentiment, what I have done is I'm storing the sentiment score here as a value, and what I have done is I have put a condition to display the smiley faces based on the sentiment score. So let's go into my Power App and have a look at how I have built this. So here I am in my Power App. So if you look at the left hand side, you can see I've got the home screen, and I've got a detail screen for opportunities, cases, phone calls, alerts, and appointments. If you expand my home screen, what I've done is I've got a group for each opportunity tile, the sentiment tile, alert tile, appointments, phone calls, and cases. And if I expand individual group, I can see the individual elements of each of those tiles. So if you look at the opportunity tile, I've got a text box that basically shows the estimated revenue, and the calculation that I have used is first of all, I'm passing the customer ID as a parameter from Dynamics 365 customer engagement. I have explained passing parameters between customer engagement and PowerApps in my previous video, so you can have a look at that. So if you leave that aside, first of all, what I'm doing is I'm filtering the opportunities based on the customer ID that is passed as a parameter, and with opportunities that with the status of in progress. And then I'm taking a sum of all of those opportunities returned for their estimated value. And my last step, what I'm doing is I'm assigning the currency symbol and formatting the value. So based on this formula, what it does, it gives you a total of the estimated revenue for all the in progress opportunities for this particular customer returned in this ID. So if you look at my next item, this is to show the number of opportunities for this customer. So So again, what I'm doing is I'm filtering the opportunities for this particular custom ID with the status of in progress. That basically shows all the in progress opportunities. And then I'm counting the rows returned, which basically gives you the number of opportunities. Then I have static text value that basically says this tile is for opportunity, and I've got an icon here, and then I have the button itself. So basically on the button click, I've got a command that navigates to the opportunity detail page. So I have taken a similar approach with the rest of the tiles as well. So mostly if you look at cases, it's basically taking the number of cases for this customer, number of phone calls for this customer, number of alerts. So with alerts, what I have done is I have actually used the tasks activity to show the alerts, the number of open appointments. So if you look at the sentiment, what I have done is I've got 3 icons in here that basically shows the normal, happy, and the sad faces. And what I have done is I've added a formula that basically hides and shows the respective smiley face based on the customer sentiment value. So in here, what I'm doing is I'm using a lookup function to look up this particular contact ID in the contacts table, and if the value is greater than or less than this specified amount, it'll basically hide and show the smiley face. So for each smiley face, I've got a formula that I've specified under the visible property. And if you go into the details page, what I have done is, if you look at the opportunity detail window, what I have done is I have added a blank gallery control, and in that I have added text fields to show the respective values. Now what I have done with the view record button is I'm launching this particular record URL on a new window. Now in this approach, I have actually hard-coded the URL into this button. This is not the best way to implement it. I am pretty sure we can pass the URL as well as a parameter. Just for this demonstration purposes, I've hard-coded it, but this is not the best way to implement this. So we need to look at how we can pass it as a parameter. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually getting the GUID from the parameter that is passed. And what I've done here is I am concatenating the URL with the GUID that is passed and then launching the URL. So I think this is a good way to build a interactive UI using PowerApps. Back in the day, if you had to build a similar interface, it involved a lot of HTML code and CSS and JavaScript that basically runs on form load, which used to consume a lot of resources. With this approach, the entire load of populating these tiles and rendering these tiles, everything is handed over to PowerApps. And all what we are doing is we are embedding the PowerApps using a few lines of JavaScript, and that's all it has in terms of creating this interface. So I hope this solution becomes a handy tip to you in your day-to-day consulting work. I will see you soon with another tip on Dynamics 365 customer engagement. Thank you.